I was just kind of like bored one day, and I was like, hey, I kind of want to go to a tournament.
I found the Smash theme through a documentary.
I actually found out about the scene through a YouTube video.
An old friend of mine mentioned it.
I think I was just looking around on Facebook.
I was looking through YouTube.
I met this guy named Moises.
Lots of Googling.
An online friend invite.
And that's kind of when I did a little looking around.
It hadn't occurred to me before then that there might be like a Facebook page for it.
I ended up joining the Skype group.
And then his friend Luke introduced me, and I thought to myself, I really want to get good at this game.
So eventually I went online to like find people to play with.
We saw a banner that said Smash Bros tournaments here. So I went there one time and that was my first tournament.
It's just such like a great community. Like you don't even know just how wonderful and like just friendly everyone is. Everyone's really open and like just very accepting of you.
Oh, just best community I've been a part of.
So I think overall the community is really nice. It's a place where people can just be themselves and not really worry. And then at the same time, there are some issues. The community disagrees on rule sets, or maybe they think a character should be banned. Overall, I think they're just generally pretty nice.
I think what makes this scene different, I guess it's all the same in like having something to be like obsessing over, but in this community, out of all the other ones I've been in, I've been much closer with the people here, and I think that's just like a vibe that I get from here more, whereas like in other like fan communities or like gaming communities, you could say, I feel like there's more like walls up. Here I was able to come in and be welcomed into groups pretty easily, which is like also saying something considering I don't actually play. I'm just here for like the fun and like the people. With people here, we've had like huge slumber parties. We're all hanging out constantly, so I think that it's just a lot more inviting.
I think meeting the people, I think that's gotta be the main part of it, because now I know many other people and not just people from the good old Eden Prairie area. When I used to play basketball, they're just like complete strangers from the other team. So like, instead of just seeing everyone as like this opposing team, I just it's like, hey, that's my dude right there.
I've actually met some of the greatest people I've ever met through this community alone, and that was only a couple years ago. You know, I thought at this point I'd already met like the greatest people in my life, but I ran into a few people here that I would consider to be lifelong friends at this point. Even if someone doesn't have the best reputation, you know that someone will always be open to just their presence. Not all groups are particularly welcoming, depending on the kind of group it is, but the MN Smash scene doesn't really care about that. If you have a love for the game and you like talking to people, that's all you really need, you know?
Smash is different from other fighting games because of the openness of the combo system. You can improvise combos really easily without having to use set combos. There are set combos, but there are also improvised combos that work based off reacting to what your opponent does.
What drives me to be better at the game, it's almost pleasing in a way, to do something to your satisfaction. So when I can play a game and be satisfied with how I played, that's something I'd like to do again. And so I always want to like replicate that, and so that's why I try to be better always.
The thing that keeps me going is definitely like the competition and the competitive drive. So like being one of the top Smash 4 players from the state, we have like 4 or 5 players who are all on like the exact same level. And since we're all competing for like these $100 prizes and money, we all keep coming back and all of us just keep having this drive to improve. And every time I see one of these guys, even if it's a month in between, all of us have gotten better. And you never have any idea who's gonna win. So it's kind of, not only is it, you know, the money that makes this financially doable, but it's just like this competition. It's, God, this guy's been practicing every day this month. Am I gonna be able to come out and beat this guy?
If you really want to be good, you have to work at it constantly. And like, there's always peers that also want to get better, and you can keep coming back, comparing yourself against those peers who are also trying to get better. And there's also like a really tight sense of community where, you know, maybe, you know, this guy's your rival for a while, you know, like a friendly rival, he always beats you, or something like that. And it's just really nice to have like a community of large amounts of people you can keep coming back to and hanging out with, doing something you enjoy.